All right, Sunday afternoon, we're about to start putting these tire racks up, but to do that, we need this car out of the way. We're gonna pour a little more coolant in it, give it its first fire up since I put it down about a month ago, and see if we can't back it out of the garage. So I'm pretty excited. This will be the first time I hear the car in, like I said, like a month. Battery may well be dead, but we are gonna try to fire this thing up finally. It lives! I have every ABS and track warning light. But it's running! There we have it. So threw together some little shelves. I am gonna go ahead and pick up some 6-foot tall shelves to run across here so I can get all these boxes unloaded. But my brother designed, built, and installed these for me. So there's bolted into the wall and then chain legged into the studs. And as you can see, so I've got 6 across this one, another 8 across here, but 3 of these are actually junk tires I need to get rid of. So I do have space to buy another set if I so desire. But that means this entire wall is now open, so I have way more room. And once I put up the shelves, all this boxes and stuff will go up onto the shelves instead of sitting here on the floor. So this is a massive improvement. Yeah, super happy with it. It basically ties in with I got the lights, got the tire rack. It's gonna be the best apartment garage you've ever seen. Tonight, I'm gonna get a start on the fan wiring. So picked up this kit from Painless Wiring via Summit Racing at my buddy's recommendation. Then also got this custom switch from Rocker Switch Pros. So how I'm gonna set it up, so middle is off completely. Then bottom, we're gonna tap into the car's thermostatic switch on the bottom of the radiator. And then if I need them to just be on no matter what, I can command that with manual. So got that with a little blank adapter. So that'll go inside, and then we're gonna use this kit to get it all wired up. I'm gonna show you guys the progress I made last night, and then we'll get into what I'm doing tonight. So my buddy sent over a picture. It would help me sort out how to wire this because wiring is far from my forte. So what I've accomplished so far, we've got the 2 fans wired up. So they're both wired together. They are grounded out to here. Then how this setup works, I've got a relay mounted here. The gray wire is gonna go into the cabin to the switch. This yellow wire is attached to the actual temperature sensor in the radiator. It's tied in. That goes to the switch. And then you have a red wire coming out of the relay that goes into the fans for power. And then you have the other red wire, which runs through this circuit breaker and then up to our battery. So today, the plan is we're gonna get these 2 wires run into the vehicle, and we're gonna pull apart some of the lower dash, find a good place to mount our switch. All right, well, I'm still fiddling with the wiring for the fans. Ryan came up with some other alternative wiring ways to make the wiring harness and switch and everything I have work with it. So we're testing out to see if that works now, and I'm gonna pick up a slightly different switch that'll work better. But she's running. The injectors tick a lot. I've got the coolant burping, and then I'll show you guys before I put the interior back together. So I did take out the cruise control ECU. So that's mounted up under here, basically alongside the brake pedal. So that is now out of the car because ain't need that no more. And then over here, so you take the glove box out, and that is accomplished by, there's two little covers you pop out inside. There's 2 screws up there, 2 screws on the bottom, and 1 plastic clip in the center. When you pull that out, then this guy's held on by 4 bolts. You get him out. Then this has a screw. You get him out of the way. And then you pull the cooling fan out of the way. There's a screw on top and bottom. And then this guy is held in by this metal clip here and by 2 screws. And I had to do some research because it's not labeled, but apparently this is the ABS track ECU in this car. All the diagrams I found online were 97 and up, and they actually had separate ECUs like mounted on the side here. So he's out as well. As you can see, all my track, because my track lights were on before, and now that I pulled the ECU, all I have left is that ABS light. I'm gonna get the fans tested here, and then we might go for a bit of a test drive spin tonight. Family's back over Sunday afternoon, and I gotta get this car out of here, so I'm gonna work on it real quick. We're gonna throw some reinforcement wood onto these, just so they're a little bit stronger to make sure they last long term. But while they're here, my brother brought his router, and we are gonna cut out the Lexan for the new sunroof. So I gotta get the sunroof out of the car, but thankfully that is a pretty simple prospect. So I have to take this assembly out. I will lose my dome light, but such is life. And then there's just a series of nuts and bolts that hold it into the car. Then I'll also pull the drain tubes out. So I'm just gonna yank those real quick, and we're gonna pull this entire sunroof assembly out of the car real quick. And then the hardest part, I think, will actually be getting the rubber seal removed from the glass so that we can cut the new Lexan exactly to this size. So I'm gonna tackle that, and I'll show you guys when it's out. Here's what you're left with. I do need to cut or bend this. It runs all the way around, but I was able to pull all this stuff. So you can pull the motor. There's actually an ECU, so that's all out of here. I'll take that up later. And then yeah, I should be able to use this, this, and this to make 3 brackets per side. It does give quite a bit more room inside. Like I said, once I get rid of this, as you can see, the roof line goes all the way up to here, but then you've got this hanging down. So I'll either cut or bend that out of the way. I've got to pull all these guys out, all the drain tubes, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. There's the dome light and control assembly, and then the motor and ECU. Then here's the actual sunroof housing assembly with the cables and everything. I went ahead and pulled out the glass, so it's actually held in just by 4 bolts. But my original plan of using this gasket and transferring it to the Lexan isn't going to work because it's very firmly attached and pinched into this housing, which is all riveted together and glued together. So traced it out on the Lexan. We're going to cut the first cut initially slightly large, just with this guy, and then we'll go around it and match exactly to this outer rubber edge with the router, and that should give us something to work with. So the rough cut's done, and then we went ahead and just hanger taped the Lexan panel to the sunroof. And how it works is the bit we're using has the blade and then has this little bearing, so the bearing will ride along the gasket on the sunroof while this blade cuts the Lexan out. So the tape is basically to make sure it doesn't shift or move and we mess up the cut. This way it's stuck to it during the entire cut. So we are going to give this a shot and hope it works. So I'm just gonna do kind of a quick overview, and then I probably won't really film while working today because I am kind of on a time crunch. I thought I was gonna have all day today to work on the car, and as happens, work came up, of course. So it's already like 3 o'clock. I was hoping to start at like 11. So I'm just gonna get cracking, but I'll show you guys what I'm gonna do today real quick here. So we're still combating the cooling issue. So quick rundown. I don't think I've actually talked about this because it was just a day the other day. So basically, the fan control just won't work with the factory temperature sensor in the radiator. So I'm having to manually command the fans on. Well, the other day I was driving it, completely forgot to turn the fans on, overheated it, puked coolant everywhere, pulled over, was trying to run the fans to cool the engine off, killed the battery. So Adam comes out with a jug of water and jumper cables, and we top it up a little bit. It's still got air in there, but got some cool water just in the cooling system. Jump started it, drove it a couple miles, overheated, pulled over, cooled it off, fired it up, ran it a couple more miles, overheats again because I think I just have a massive amount of air in the system now. Pull over, run the fans again. By this point, he was late to something, trying to save my butt, and go to start it, will not start, won't jump start. We ran his car idling and at like 2,000 RPM for 15 minutes straight. Couldn't get anything more than a fast click at the starter. Had to call it. He dropped me off. I ran to the store. I'm trying out O'Reilly's, this is their house brand AGM battery. It's like 200 bucks, stupid heavy. So this is definitely going to the trunk soon, but got that night when he got home, like 11 o'clock at night. He ran me back over the car, swapped out the battery, fired right up, raced it home, and it has basically sat here ever since. So what we're gonna try to do, we're gonna go ahead and just wire up this aftermarket temperature sensor. I think it's a 180 on, 165 off. And I also picked up a new switch since the old switch was giving us issues just with how the circuit was run. So same thing, rocker switch pros, but I just ordered, this is just a basic on-off switch instead of the on-off on. So it should be a lot easier to wire to the car. So I'm gonna get that all wired up, and then we're gonna try to burp the coolant again, see if we're good or not. Now for the sunroof, the other day, we got the plexi cut out. It needs a little shaping, but it's there. The shape's good. I have a gasket on the way. I actually found an aircraft manufacturer that makes a real nice 1/8 inch like U-channel rubber gasket. So we're gonna put that around here, trim this in as far as I need to, get that on there, and then look into mounting that hopefully before this weekend. My goal is to spend Friday driving the car around, test it out, because Saturday we've got a mountain cruise coming up with me and a few of the buddies, and I really want to take this car. If some reasons this doesn't work out, we'll just take the LS, because that car will still be a lot of fun in the mountains, but I really want to take this car with me. So in regards to that, I'm also gonna try getting this mounted and wired today. So my buddy Ryan sent this over, and we decided to get these for our cars. We used to off-road a lot, and we always ran big, CB radios with giant antennas and all that stuff for communication while we were off-roading. But mine went when I sold my Land Cruiser. So he found these units where the box is just this tiny little unit, which I'm actually planning to mount in the trunk and hook up to power and the ground. It's just got a real simple little harness you have to tap in. And then all the controls are just on the mic itself, which we're gonna mount in the cabin. And then it's got this super long extension, so I should be able to run the cord all the way into the trunk from the front. And then this is all I have to have up with me.